Welcome back to Toronto Wine Drinker, TorontoWineDrinker.com. I'm joined by Dave Roberts from Wine Tasters of Toronto. I took the subway all the way up here, Dave.
Good for you. Only way to go if you're tasting wine.
That's right. I took the subway up. We're at the North York Civic Center. Is that right? The North.
Yep.
North York.
We are. It's the Gold Room within the Memorial Community Center within the whole North York Center. This is where we always have our tastings, and it is on the subway line, and that's done for a purpose.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's kind of great to actually get on the subway and come all the way up here. You kind of forget because I've got this whole downtown snobbery thing going on right now where I think everything has to happen around, like, say, King and University or something like that. But it's not true. Wine is all over the city. Dave, let's talk a little bit about Wine Tasters of Toronto. What do you guys do? Besides, taste wine.
We taste wine, number one. We are a tasting group. We don't do things like, group purchases or anything like that. It's all about tasting wine, but it's more than just that. I mean, you can go to your local liquor store and get some wines to buy, but what we've been able to do, we've been in business now for over 25 years, and we've been able to build up a fabulous cellar, and that's huge. It means that we've got wines that go back 10, 15, 20 years, and these are top quality wines that need that kind of time in a cellar to come around, to mature, to get to the point where they are at their peak of drinkability. And it's an opportunity for our members that there's no way you could do on your own unless you had access to those kinds of wines.
Right. Now, you guys have been in business for 25 years. People may have not heard of the club. How do they get involved? Where can they find you online, that kind of thing?
We are at winetasters.ca, and we have a good website now. We keep it up to date. We have a listing that would show upcoming events for the next several months. Also information about current events or subsequent events. Plus, you can also go online and sign up for tastings as well.
Okay.
And do the thing through the pay online arrangement, and basically never have to leave your computer.
Now, how many events do you guys do a year anyway?
We do monthly events, pretty much every month. We don't do events during the summer. People are typically away doing the summer things. Yeah. We also, though, have a very special premium event at Christmas time. It's our Christmas party. We hold it at Casa Loma.
Nice.
And that is an even more interesting thing. Rather than just dealing with 8 or 9 wines on the table, it's set up more like a wine fair where you go around to stations, and that's where we have some amazing little gems that we've had in the cellar, and where all of a sudden you don't know what's coming, but all of a sudden out comes maybe a 1966 Bordeaux or a 70 vintage port or something like that, and then all of a sudden you see the buzz in the room and everybody's heading over to this station to try to grab a taste of it before it disappears.
Yeah. That's excellent. What's the membership like? How big is your membership roll?
We have about 300 members,
really?
Thereabouts, and
that's great.
We will typically get 50, 60, 70, 80, sometimes even over 100 at a tasting. Some tastings are more popular than others, but we usually get a pretty good turnout. Casa Loma, it's a little bit more open. We also allow guests and others that want to come, and we will often at Casa Loma have 250, 300 people.
Wow. Yeah, because I was going to say, when I walked in here, I was surprised. I didn't know if I was walking into a tasting of 10 people, 20 people, whatever, but there's got to be, 100 seats here?
We'll have about 80 tonight.
80 tonight, eh? Excellent. And tonight is, and this is what intrigued me, because this is what I found online, the Other Antinori. And it's a tasting tonight of Italian wines. Take us through this Other Antinori. What does that mean?
Well, the Antinori family is a long-standing family, maybe the most famous family of winemaking in Tuscany, and the family has been produced Chiantis, Chianti Classicos, various other things, but they were the ones that started moving into bringing non-traditional Italian grapes to drastically improve the quality of the wines. And you might have heard of names like Tignanello and Solaya that were sort of the forerunners to that, and they were extremely successful. So the other Antinori was Lodovico Antinori, who was the younger brother of Piero Antinori, who was sort of the head guy that set up these other wines. He located out in the coastal part of Tuscany, which is not where all the traditional estates were. This is brand new frontier for Italian winemaking. They found very good sites out there, but also they found that the Bordeaux-style grape types, instead of the traditional Sangioveses and what have you, they brought in Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot and grapes like that, and almost immediately produced superstar wines. The Antinori estate, the Ornellaia estate, as well as one wine called Sassicaia, who people might recognize. That was again one of the true pioneers. And then the Ornellaia estate basically came in right after Sassicaia, was almost immediately a superstar wine, and is now famous throughout the world. Compares with good French California wines and what have you.
Right. Now, is this part of that whole Super Tuscan thing that you hear about as well?
Yeah, the Super Tuscan is a name that's kind of stuck to these wines over the years. They're now trying to get rid of that and try to give these wines their own proper names. They call the general area Maremma, which I guess if you translate it is something like beside the sea or something along those lines. And you have appellations like Bulgari, which is where some of the best estates are from. But Super Tuscans, that term grew because these wineries and these wines were not following the old traditional rules of the DOC rules that they had in Italy, which were somewhat out of date and didn't recognize the potential that these wines had. So they were forced to call themselves Super Tuscans because they couldn't call themselves anything else.
Right. If I remember correctly from a wine class way back, it's basically the rules they had to follow was what, like 80% or something Sangiovese in it, and these guys decided to put Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon there and change the percentages completely.
In fact, the old traditions were even worse than that. At one point, the Sangiovese also had to have a small amount of white wine added to it, just because somebody in their wisdom thought that would give it a nice, smoother, mellower character. But what it ended up doing is making it a pretty insipid wine. And then it took, again, some forward-thinking people to realize that this is the wrong way to go, and people now are looking for more robust, more flavorful wines, more complex wines, and bringing these other grape types in is what made the difference.
So tonight you're tasting a type of these Super Tuscans, but it's the other Antinori. It's not the more famous one from Big Brother. Is that right?
This is all from the coastal Ornellaia estate, and we've got 4 vintages of the Ornellaia wine itself, the so-called flagship wine, and also 4 vintages of the Massetto, which was a single vineyard, 100% Merlot wine that was produced almost from the start as well. The Merlot wine very quickly took off and became far better than the flagship wine.
Right.
The Ornellaia itself is made like with the Bordeaux blend, mostly Cabernet with some Merlot and a few other things, but the Massetto has become a true superstar wine, and it is considered to be right up there with, say, the very, very best Pomerols.
Now, I wanted to get to one thing. I know you've got this tasting sheet right here, and it's, I'll put a close-up of it on the screen, but you got the name of the wine, the color and the clarity, the taste and aftertaste, the overall impression. People would basically understand that you're judging the wine and assigning a number to it.
Yeah, we're not asking people to do any highly academic judgment or assessment, but it gives our members a chance to go through and give their own assessments based on what they find, what they like. These wines are served blind, so they know what they are, but they just don't know which one is which. So they will go through and rank them according to, again, the various categories like, color, bouquet, taste, aftertaste, etc. And then at the end, we ask them to rank them according to their preferences.
I love and sorry, Dave, but this is the part that I love, is first of all that you let people do it according to their preference and their taste and what they like, and then at the end, you actually, kind of force people to choose which ones they liked better, and the answers might surprise some people.
Oh, very much so, and you see results all over the map. We take it in stages then. Individuals do their rankings, then they and their colleagues at their tables will combine them, and you'll get a table ranking, what the table thought was the best.
That's great.
And then we combine all of those for everybody in the room, and we get a group rank. And again, the table ranks themselves, even amongst tables, can be all over the place. Sometimes because of what people's preferences are, sometimes because, unfortunately, sometimes you get a bottle that's not quite as good as another bottle. A little bit of bottle variation can happen as well.
I like the implication that no one's wrong.
Basically. Absolutely. Yeah. What our members can get out of this is for them to discover for themselves what they like. Yeah. And whatever somebody else likes, fine and dandy, but that's really not what we're after here. It's a chance to taste old wines, to find something along a particular theme. Let's say, for example, on a particular wine, it might be older vintages versus newer vintages, or it might be different locations of a particular grape type, or it could be several vintages of a single wine. It could be several wines from a single vintage, so you can do what they call either horizontal or vertical. You try to keep something common, and then again you have 1 or 2 factors that will then hopefully provide the differences and give people some knowledge about what it is they like.
Lovely. Dave, I'm going to let you get back to it because I know you're champing at the bit to go and pour some wine, because all these glasses basically have to be filled by the time people show up.
We have work to do still, yes.
Little work to do. I've taken up enough of your time. Congratulations and good luck. And I'll follow along online. I'll put your website on the screen as well so that people can follow along. Get involved. The thing I like about this the most is it's about what you like, not being told what you should like. So it's really great. Thanks, Dave.
And we'd certainly love to see some of your readers and followers coming out and giving us a try sometime.
I would love it if they did. All right, thanks Dave.
Good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.